Hello, good evening, and a very warm welcome to Rangers Radio.
Hello, and welcome to Rangers Radio. Tonight you've been joined by myself, GB, and a couple of staunch gentlemen. We've been joined by young Robert and the man that is the Bridge man. How we doing, boys?
Good evening, GB. Good evening, Bridge. Good to be on yourselves tonight. Looking forward to it. Sure there's plenty to talk about.
I can have to say a big good evening to yourself, GB, and of course Robert. Hope you get a big strong shoulders carrying me tonight, pal, I'll tell you. And of course the techie boys in the background. And to all the Rangers fans listening in all over the world, surprise over the last couple of days. Surprise. Welcome, good evening and welcome to Rangers Radio.
Nice intro there, Bridge. Enjoyed that, mate. Bridge, since you have been on the last couple of days, young Robert's not been on, and it's probably the last time we'll allow Robert to be off, because every time he goes off, Rangers do crazy stuff. So, Robert, over to you, mate. From Sunday, mate. From Saturday, from the game, and then Sunday onwards. Just your thoughts, mate, of the craziness of Glasgow Rangers.
Basically, the past 2 or 3 days have basically summed up the way the season's been, mate, if I'm being honest. Obviously, starting with Saturday, the game, the least said about it, the better, if I'm being honest. Very flat. There was even watching it at home on TV, there felt a change kind of in the air, and not a good one. It felt very flat, no energy, no optimism, nothing at all, really. And St Mirren, well-deserved winners, done their homework, picked our weak points, and we just didn't look at all like a team that wanted to go and make something from the game, especially what had happened on earlier in the day. You would think that would maybe give you a wee extra bit of motivation, a wee bit of a spark, a bit of a boost to go and get a result, narrow the gap, albeit it would be down to 10 at that point. But there was just nothing. There was no togetherness, and it seemed almost like the way it was the Aberdeen game for Michael Beale, if I'm being honest, GB. There was a sense of something was happening, a change was coming, and it seemed to be that the players or managers certainly knew that as well. Then obviously you go into the Sunday, the kind of news that a lot would have expected sooner rather than later, that Clement was having the talks with the board about his future, and ultimately he's paid the price. I'm not surprised that he's away. I did say I think he would be there to the end of the season, but after that performance and result on Saturday, that was the kind of final nail, unfortunately for him. Again, it's never nice to see a Rangers manager lose their job, but as we always say, it's a results-driven business. He had got some good results in Europe, but the league form's what's cost him his job. Obviously, wish him all the best going forward. It certainly seemed like a decent guy in terms of football. He always kind of spoke what he felt he believed in, and you have to give him credit for that, as much as we might not agree with it. I felt he stuck to his guns, and then obviously the reported fact that he only took half the payoff and asked for the other half to be put back to Rangers, which he always said it wasn't about the money. So you have to give him respect for that. But we move on, and obviously the announcement comes that Barry Ferguson will lead the charge until the end of the season, with the likes of Neil McCann, Billy Dodds, Alan McGregor, and Azam Chari, who obviously came in January to Clement's assistant. Bit surprised about that. I'll be honest. I think of all the kind of names that were mentioned early on, once Clement had departed, I don't think many would have had Ferguson on the tip of their tongue. But he's been given the call. He's took it on. One thing I think we'll certainly see from the players is a bit of a lift. I think the players in the dressing room will show more respect to Ferguson and co than they did Clement, possibly because of who they are and what they've done for the club, each and every one of them. Obviously, you've got McGregor coming in as goalkeeping coach, which it brings an end to an era for the Stewart family. I know Colin had been there for 10 years, and before that his dad was there, Jim, for 10 years. So that'll be a sad sight for them, not to be involved in the club anymore. But McGregor comes in, and nothing better for Jack Butland to get over his mistakes and learning from the best, and one of the guys that he's come in to replace. So it's went full circle for Alan. The only one that kind of took me by surprise, mate, was probably Billy Dodds. I didn't really expect that. Neil McCann always talks great on the TV and any kind of punditry he's doing, so I'm interested to see how it goes. But I think there'll be fire on the sidelines, and I think there'll be more fire on the players, mate. And as I said, I think they'll show more respect possibly to these players, ex-players that have come in to steady the helm to the end of the season. I know they've said openly it's 3 months, and they know that as well. But I think there might be a chance that if they do well here, there could be oppositions in the future to get involved in the coaching setup under the new regime. So I'm looking forward to seeing how they do and what changes they bring to the squad. And obviously that starts tomorrow night at Kilmarnock.
Well said, mate. Just to jump back before we get into Barry, because I know he done his press the other day, and we were all here for that. But the whole Issam, the assistant manager thing, I know that he's only just in the door, but I was very surprised that they still held on to him. So there must be a reason behind him coming in the first place, even with Clement, that they've kept a hold of him. That's for me is the kind of interesting bit, why they've kept him hanging about. Because when Ferguson was talking about him in RTV, it kind of sounded as if he was just a guy wandering about the training centre, and they're just going to have to like integrate him in with the new coaching staff and stuff like that. So it's kind of like as if he's kind of left in no man's land. I don't know what you're kind of picking up for that, Robert. Where you see him in Rangers, is he got to be part of maybe our youth setup, or can you really see him being like a part of like an assistant manager setup come maybe a new regime come the summer?
I think it boils down to the fact that it's just in the door. If I'm being honest, GB, that whether there's some sort of remit that it can't be kind of let go so soon after joining the club. Was it maybe 3-4 weeks, if anything? Is there a kind of clause in the contract in that sense? Who knows, possibly. But I think I don't want to look too much and too far into it. I don't think it'll be part of a setup going forward. I'll get that out first and foremost. But I just wonder, because he is Moroccan, we've got Igaman. Is there a bit of will help Igaman progress here as a vocal point, one of the key prospects for the future? We'll have a Moroccan in the camp to try and get him back to the way he was a few weeks ago and a few months ago. Again, I don't want to read too much into it, but it'll be interesting to see how he does kind of adapt and how his ideas are bounced about as well between him and Barry. But I think we all know that it's going to be Barry that is doing the charge here and doing the instructions, and he'll rely on the guys behind him who have came to the club as well.
Bridge, it's up to the boy Issam that's been left behind after the Clement dismissals and stuff like that he goes out now and earns his coin. I've read that he is a set piece expert, so that's what I'll be looking for. I know Barry's brought in his coaching staff to help with the coaching side of things and the training during the day and stuff like that, but the guy can't just be turning up just to make up the numbers. He's got to contribute to this going forward as well.
Well, can I just say, the couple of games that we had to go through, one was worse than the other, and the latter was dreadful. I thought the Queen's Park game, I'd never seen anything like it, and to be honest, I was proved wrong. The next weekend, which is that one there I know, St Mirren deserved to beat us. I thought so. I thought they were. I don't like them. I don't like St Mirren. I don't like the way they play. Maybe a wee part of that means I'm not too keen on the way we play against them because we can't cope with them. But they were very big and they were very tough and they were into us in a big way. They bullied us all over the park and they were faster than us on the midfield. Faster. They took that. We were picking up nearly all the second balls in our midfield just couldn't get it going. When we did get it going, of course we looked not too bad, but we couldn't put the ball in the net. But that's no taking that away from anyone. I think we were absolutely shocking once again. And I think that the fair thing happened is that the manager left. Let's put it that way. I'm not going to say he was sacked because I don't know if he was actually sacked, but they parted ways. And whatever he done, as Robert says about the money, that was a good thing for him. So I'm sorry for him. I mean this sincerely. I'm really, really sorry for him. As far as the person that's coming in to replace him, I can tell you now, for the last number of years, I couldn't stand Barry Ferguson. I wouldn't listen to him, and I wouldn't watch him, other than in replays when he was playing for the Rangers. I just wouldn't do it. I thought his associates, people he associated with, were not Rangers people, and that's for sure. But the job, it was a job he had, and he had to do it in a sense. So I can only say that's the only kind thing I can say. But I wouldn't have went for Barry Ferguson and David Dodds. I might have went for McCann and McGregor, but I wouldn't have went for Barry Ferguson. However, when it came out the other day that he's been asked, I give him 100% support, and that's all I can say on it. All of them, they're all Rangers men to a certain extent. One more rabid about it than other, and I think hopefully they will do a job. I hope it works out for them all, and they get what they want, and we get what we want, and that's what we need. We need to be able to come to that level where everybody is getting what they want, and they're happy. So when the manager goes home, he goes home happy. He's not going home with 3 players on the team up in the Danewell. He's got to get that sorted. So there we go. We're here, and Barry Ferguson, obviously one of the best Rangers players I've ever seen, and most assuredly brilliant in midfield, absolutely brilliant, and a wee Ned, and non-stop nipping people's ear all the time, and that's what I want him to do on the line, nip people's ear, including the referees. The only thing I've got to say about them, and you guys will probably agree with me here, all of them need to keep their mouth shut for a wee while, because the referees or linesmen or whatever will complain, and the fourth official will listen to what they're saying, and before you know it, we could get in bookings or possibly red cards for the sidelines. So we don't want that. We want everything to be as nice as possible, but we want Barry Ferguson as Barry Ferguson, the one me and you. The chap that's come in that was already there, and they haven't released him. Well, he's going to do a bit of coaching, and that's for sure. And I think I heard you saying, Robert, he's a free kick specialist. Well, to be honest, when we have a free kick, I want to bring him on and take the free kicks. Just like the American football. You come on and kick for goal, because some of the guys we've got can't do it. As I'm saying that sort of tongue in cheek, to be honest, but we know we've got a big problem, and they've got a big problem. So let's hope they can go ahead and do it. And I'm happy now. I've come to terms with it, and I'm going to support them all the way, because they are my team, and they're all Rangers people. So there's no hatred towards them at all. So that's all I've got to say on that. So over to you, boys.
Aye, no, Bridge, well said, mate. Like I says, it was for myself, just before we go to his interview. It was a strange appointment. I was actually at a captain's dinner on the Friday night, and I was getting my photograph taken with him. And never did I think, when I was standing next to him, Arthur Newman, Amoruso, and the jig, that I thought that Barry Ferguson was going to be the next Rangers manager. But aye, if you get yourselves in mute, and we'll hear from our interim manager, Barry Ferguson.
Barry, welcome. Obviously, just bring us up to speed with what I'm sure has been a pretty busy 48 hours or so for you.
Yep, it's obviously been hectic, but also it's been enjoyable. Surprised that I obviously got the call on Sunday, but it only took 5 minutes to agree to become the interim manager until the end of the season. Then it was a case of me trying to get my staff together, which thankfully took only about 10 or 12 hours, because I was worried in case it would drag on a wee bit, but thankfully it wasn't the case, and I got the 3 guys that I wanted to come in.
You can tell us a bit about, obviously, all these 3 guys are known, working alongside of Sam as well, but why for you did you want those 3 as your first choice?
There's a number of reasons, if I'm being honest with you. Both Neil and Billy have obviously got experience as being managers at a good level. They've obviously, alongside Alan, played with the club. They obviously know the demands and the expectations, so that was important to me as well. And they're bubbly about the place, as I mentioned. They're big characters. They like to get in amongst the boys, and I think that's important because obviously the last couple of weeks has been difficult for this group of players, so it was important that I get the right people in who would get in about them. And also myself, it's important that the players feel comfortable around good people, but also good coaches.
I know you spoke a little bit on Rangers TV about what style you want to play, what type of Rangers team you want to see. You've not got long on the training pitch, but you expand a little bit on that for us?
Well, I've not got long because I only had 1 training session, but listen, I'm not going to use that as an excuse in terms of the game tomorrow night against Kilmarnock. We came in last night, I'll be brutally honest, we came in about 4:30. Me and the coaching staff, we sat down for about 4 or 5 hours. We had to go through a lot of things, so we were ready and prepared for the boys coming in this morning. We've not filled them with too much information because I think it's too short notice, but they totally understand what way we're going to go against a very good Kilmarnock team and against a very good experienced manager.
Larry, what have you told the players what you expect from them?
I expect to win games of football. I expect them to give me everything they've got, because that's one thing I'll give them, and my coaching staff will as well. So I had a brief meeting with them for 5 or 10 minutes today, and I got it across, and they fully understand my expectations of them.
What do you think are going to be your biggest challenges over the next few months?
There's going to be a number of challenges, but what I've been brought in to do is start winning games of football as quickly as possible, and that needs to start tomorrow night at Rugby Park.
Is James going to remain the skipper?
Yep.
What was your thinking behind that?
I don't think there was any need to change. I actually had a good chat with James last night. He came in while we were in, obviously getting to know some of the staff and getting to know the surroundings as well. I know I've been here plenty of times, but there's been a few changes, so it was good to get a good sit down with him, spoke to him, and I looked him in the eyes, and I have no doubt that he will give me 100% to lead this club until the end of the season.
Barry, sorry Raman, you know the expectations of the fans more than most. What realistically would success look like for you and your backroom team between now and the end of the season?
Well, we've got 11 weeks to go. We've got a number of games, albeit we're still in the Europa League. We have to try and be positive and make sure we win every single game. Now, that's a big ask, I know that, but listen, I'm positive. I need a bit of positivity about the place. My staff have been like that, and the players fully understand that. I spoke to them today. They know the demands that I've put on them, and that needs to start tomorrow night against Kilmarnock, because I said it's going to be difficult. You know, the last time we went down to Kilmarnock, you know what happened there. So this needs to be a different Rangers team that turns up tomorrow night.
You know your appointment has raised a few eyebrows, and you know that there's some people who don't think that you have the managerial experience for a job of this magnitude. What would your response be to that?
Judge me at the end of the 3 months. I have no issue with that. Everybody's entitled to their opinion. One thing you will get from me as in my staff, I'm coming in here, and I'm not taking this lightly, I'm taking it seriously. And that will start tomorrow night, so I would rather be judged come the end of the season, but also know I'm going to be judged game by game. This is just the nature of the beast when you're at Glasgow Rangers.
You mentioned style. What will be different immediately? What would fans see different from a Barry Ferguson Rangers than they've seen before previously?
You'll see that tomorrow night. That'll be kept privately. The players fully understand what way we're going to approach the game, so you can ask me that when you come here on Friday.
You had the chance to really kind of soak in
just everything that's happened over the last day or so?
I've not had much sleep, should I say, as you can probably see with my eyes. But listen, I'm not complaining about it. It was a bit of a whirlwind couple of days. Hardly any sleep, as I mentioned earlier. Trying to get my coaching staff together, getting in, obviously getting told that I had to take the game for Wednesday, and then getting to meet the players. One training session. So there's been a lot of things going on. I'm sure in the coming days it will start to hit a wee bit. But listen, I'm excited, and listen, I'm proud to be asked to become the Rangers manager until the end of the season. So as I said, I'm going to give it my all, and so is my staff, and so is this group of players.
How ready do you feel for this challenge? Because there maybe has been times in the past where your name's been linked with Rangers when there's not been a manager and they've maybe been looking at an interim spell. Is it something that in the past you maybe felt could have been a possibility, and is it something that you've always had in the back of your mind as something you've wanted to do?
No, I had a quiet life for a few years. I was enjoying a new role at the club. I was a club ambassador for the past year and a half, really enjoying doing that side of it. But listen, when you get offered the opportunity, there was no way I was turning it down. So I'm just glad I've took it, and we'll see where it goes. But look, I'm confident. I'm confident in my ability. I'm confident in my staff's ability, and also the players.
Barry, would you hope that this might open the door to something longer beyond the 3 months, perhaps into next season, once the club decide what direction they're going?
I'm not even thinking that far in front. The only thing I'm concerned about is Wednesday night at Clement. I've been brutally honest with you. I'm here until the end of the season, but my main objective is to start winning games on a consistent basis. So one game at a time, and that's what I'm at tomorrow. I'm fully focused on Clement.
You and your backroom staff know what it takes to win here. You've all got the winners' medals to show it. I mean, do you think that is part of your job, to go into the dressing room and try and set the standards of what a Rangers team should look like?
Yep, that's part of my job. That's part of my staff's job. The players understand that. Listen, this club's built on winning trophies, and it's not won enough over the years. That's clear for everybody to see. So we're still in one trophy, the Europa League, but domestically we need to have a level of consistency. That's where it starts, and we need to start winning games of football on a regular basis, and that's our focus.
How good was it to be with Neil, with Billy, with Griggsy again today? I think you only played one game as a foursome together. I think it was a 4-4 in the Scottish Cup times.
Well, I didn't even know that. No, it's good. Listen, I thought long and hard about it, and I had to be respectful. They were obviously, Billy and Neil were in your side in the media, similar to myself. So we had to do a fair bit of work to try and convince them. But listen, when I spoke to them, they were really keen. So was Alan. And that's what I wanted to hear. And once we obviously got the deal done, got it done early enough yesterday so we could get together. And as I said, we've not even been together 24 hours, but I can see the enthusiasm, and that's what I want. I want the players, I want the staff to be walking through these front doors with a smile on their face. And certainly that's what I got from the players today. When they come in, they were bubbly. That's the way it's going to be. But also there's going to be a serious side to it. When we train, we'll train and we'll put demands on them, and they're also understanding it's about winning games, and we have to win games of football.
I know you were speaking with Luke at various times through his spell here. Have you spoken since he left? Have you had any message for him?
No, I've not, because listen, I've not had any time. I've been non-stop the last 48 hours. Look, whenever a Rangers manager takes a job, I'm desperate for them to do well. Listen, the club have made a decision. Now I need to focus on myself, my staff, and most importantly the players. So that's been my thoughts over the last 48 hours.
Barry, you sat in your seat 2 weeks ago and said this wasn't a good place to be. What are you going to do to make sure that this environment here is a good place to be?
That's one of my jobs. When I spoke to them, I had a 10-minute meeting with them, and I was just straightforward. This is a brilliant place to be. You're lucky to be at a place like this. You look at the training facility, you look at the stadium, you look at the support. They're well looked after in terms of the staff at the club. So I feel it's going to be a good place to be. Certainly the day I felt a difference. the staff round about the place said to me they felt a difference, and that's important for me to carry that on.
Why don't you give us a call on 0141 356 1972? It's your show, it's your platform. Let's hear from you.
Well said, Barry boy. Big man's fired up. And talking about staunchness, we've actually been joined with our first caller tonight, and it is the young Port Bear. How are we doing, Port? Don't dare, bridge man.
He's hiding. He's hiding. He doesn't want to come on and talk at all.
There he is. No, he's back. Okay, hello. Come on, Port. Speak to me. Talk to me. Tell me your thoughts. No. We'll come back to you soon, Port. Robert, how did you think about that there, mate? How did you think about the interview? I know Bridgeman touched on it. It was a big surprise appointment. Backroom team as well. A couple of surprises in amongst there. But one thing that I'm glad it's at least with Barry Ferguson, he'll tell them straight and he'll get them told if they're put in these performances like we've seen against St Mirren in Queen's Park, then at least come the end of the season, the ones that are not pulling their weight will know the true reason why they're either getting shipped at the door. I think Barry Ferguson will, like I says, read out the ones that are not up for the fight.
I will. For a long time, GB, we've always said we need more Rangers men, more Scottish men, if you want to put it that way as well. And we've certainly got that with the 4 that have come in. As I said earlier, I think the players will show more respect to this group. I'm not saying they weren't respectful of Clement, not for a minute. But I just feel the fact that these guys know the club inside out. They've been to cup finals, they've won leagues, they've been under some great managers. They know the expectations. They're not going to learn off of 4 better guys than the ones that are in terms of demands and standards. And if they don't meet it, these guys will tell you about it. Let's be sure about that. They will tell you about it. I mean, the one line that I can just sticks in my mind already right there from Barry is, "You're lucky to be here," and he's 100% right. These players really need to realise that they are lucky to be at our club. There is no other club like what we offer and what kind of platform and development that we can offer. And these guys will show and tell what this club means to them and how much it's done for their careers as well. I just, obviously, I'm not going to get ahead of myself. They're here for 3 months. They're here to do a job to the end of the season. But I just feel that it is Rangers men that we've asked for. It's leadership, it's experience. And if this doesn't give this group of players a lift, then by God, these players really are short of confidence and ability than what we might even think. So, interesting times to see how we do adapt and how we do build up. But even listening to Barry himself there, mate, there's a reaction right away. The staff in the canteen can feel it. The staff at the training centre can feel it. It just shows you how flat it must have been during the past couple of weeks, that one day and there's suddenly a different buzz about the air. And it might just be a spark that these players need. Because, as you say, going forward, not just managerial, not just off the field matters, these players have got a career. And whether it's going to be at Rangers or not, it's in their own hands.
We'll try again. Port, are you there, bud?
How you doing, Mick? Can you hear me?
Oh, I can hear you good, mate. That's a lot better.
Port Bear!
Come on down.
He must have put his Wi-Fi a closer lamppost.
That's what we did down here, Robert. We nick it off our neighbours.
You're probably sitting in a McDonald's.
I'm not sitting beside my neighbour's door, mate. Steal nails.
Good to have you back on, buddy. Really good to hear from you. Mate, big changes at the Glasgow Rangers. I know you came on for a wee bit the other night there as well, but obviously we know it is fully confirmed. You've heard Barry Ferguson's interview there. What's your thoughts, mate?
Initial thoughts obviously was shocked, mate, because I didn't see it coming. Because obviously, Barry Ferguson, Neil McCann, Billy Dodds even all had decent careers on the other side of the fence, mate. In media, Barry was doing his ambassador role at Ibrox, so I was surprised with the appointment. But I've got to admit, mate, I'm pretty happy. And listening to MR before I go on to the show, I got a buzz off it, Gary. What he had to say, everything he had to say was positive. I can hear that fierceness in him as well. I can hear that passion from for the fact that a Rangers man through and through. An absolute fan, captain, club, etc. So he's got a lot of credentials when it comes to my supporting the Rangers and a lot of guys my age, because he had a lot of good years under Barry Ferguson. Neil McCann, a local boy from my town as well. So a lot of support for the wee man as well. And then the rest of the team, Griggsy speaks for himself, Billy Dodds, another winner at Ibrox. What they've done, mate, is went and installed winners. And I think that's first and foremost what's going to get put across to this squad. I think what will happen is these guys they'll be relentless. They will not let up on these players. And I think this is what these players need. This is the rocket that this squad needs up their backside. I think during Phillips, Philippe's last few months at Rangers, mate, I think the place had absolutely stagnated and went flat, and they lost the dressing room. I think that's a fact. I think we all seen that. I think we've seen a very, very flat team that weren't playing for him. And it was inevitable, that says, Rangers would have pulled the plug on him eventually. And they've done it, mate, but they've brought in guys that I think will make a difference to our players. Because if you can't play for who's on your coaching team right now, especially Barry Ferguson, then you'll either not be there or you'll find yourself out the squad, out the team, because he will not stand for it, mate. He will not stand for it. My only worry is, with the modern soft player, I just feel if Barry or Grigsy's giving him a rollicking, the HR complaining about them, mate. Because I think players are very, very soft to that style of management now.
Mm-hmm. I think so. But for me, Port, I think they're needing the rocking. I think they're needing told it straight that they're not here for a holiday. They're here to win games of football, first and foremost. And then after that, maybe trophies will come. But the way they're turning up to their work now, and I'll take this to Bridgeman, the way they've been turning up to their work, Bridge, recently is shocking. It's basically spitting the dummy stuff out, because like say Clement and all the rest of it, they've proven that they can have decent games under him. But the last couple of games, Hearts, St Mirren and Queen's Park, it just as a team that basically couldn't be bothered turning up for their work anywhere and couldn't be bothered playing for a manager anywhere. And I know that comes to all teams eventually, but considering we're trying to build something, it was pretty shocking to see it so early doors, Bridge.
Well, what you said there, one of the things you said was they couldn't be bothered playing. They didn't want to play for the manager, and that's what I'm convinced of. They didn't want to play under that manager. That's the only sensible thing that I don't even call it sensible, really. But that's the only excuse that they've got. I can see that they've got. They didn't want to play for the manager. And they maybe have fallouts with them. All it needs is 2 or 3. But let's say 2 or 3 midfielders. They don't like the way that they're getting moved up the park or moved down the park or whatever. We want to play in a decent centre, central midfield and get our positions. And he wasn't playing them in that. Well, you just turn them off. After you get 2 or 3 times you can't get into your position, you can turn off very easily. Don't make any excuses for anyone, so make no mistake about that. I just think that I was feeling that about Clement. I think the last sort of bit of problems that we had, maybe a month ago or 6 weeks ago, and I said then they need to let him go. But I didn't want him to go, but I thought they would need to let him go. But now, after the weekend there's absolutely no way we could keep him, because that feeling just goes right through the squad, You've all played football. You know what it's like when you get some clown that's playing football in your team and they're not doing what they're told, or they're not If you're in a good position, they're no passing the ball to you. All that crap that goes on, and it goes on big style in a lot of clubs. And that's one of the problems that we could have had in there. So we've got a lot of players there, a lot of young players, and we've seen them playing very well. Mr. Ferguson has got to come in and he's got to work his magic and bring all these things together. And clearly the deck's a wee bit behind you. Say, like, all that crap that was going on, just forget it. It's we're not interested in it. That's what I see. That's the way I see it. So I don't know how you guys see it, but that's what I see. And I think it needs to go. It needs to be done right. And he might be the man that can do it. I don't know, but I hope I'm right.
I'll take this question around yourself, Robert, and Port. That Ox touched on it last night. They were asking, like, what was the catalyst for Clement, because the Queen's Park game, we had that kind of week to ourselves. We had the week off, plenty of time to do the training on the training pitch, get all the messages across that he wasn't getting a chance today. And we seemed to come back into that game, and there seemed to be something changed in the team. It seemed to be like a mood swing, just totally no taking the instructions on anymore. And do you think the team just got worn down with the constant structure, maybe? Because I've seen the post with Todd Cantwell with tagging Tav and stuff like that, and as much as I know what Cantwell done, I did think there was a kind of a wee nod to say, look, that guy was just too structured. He was too stubborn. So I'm just wondering what your thoughts are. I'll come to you first, Robert, on what was the catalyst to start this ball rolling and Clement getting sacked?
I mean, obviously the Queen's Park game is a massive marker to start with, but I think there had been obviously pressure growing week by week as the games approached that Queen's Park game. And I think it just became too much for too many, and the players kind of lost their way. Whether the manager felt that he was starting to lose his way and there was maybe less of a focus going towards the games. I mean, we're seeing here they had a week to prepare for a game against kind of Queen's Park and then Hearts. Something changed, but was it just the pressure became too much for too many? And the manager felt it, he was slipping away as well, and that's why he was running on borrowed time himself. And we would never come out and say that, but it certainly felt that, or showed to us on the kind of ones going to games to watch it, going to the away game, going to Ibrox. Something changed within a matter of weeks, because it wasn't that long ago that we were going to Old Trafford, we were coming away disappointed with a 2-1 defeat, thinking that we should get something at the game. And then a couple of weeks later, we're deflated, we're flat, there's no lift. The stadium empties before an hour, 70 minutes. Something changed, mate, and I can't put my finger on it, but I just think maybe the pressure became too much for too many, even Clement, and that's when he felt maybe he was just running on borrowed time, and he was just trying to do enough to see him through to the next week, and obviously he paid the price this weekend.
Port, do you think that the manager maybe just... Do you think the players maybe had a kind of sniff that he was on his way out, and that kind of rubbed off on them, that they didn't really need to... They knew they had to go out and win the games, obviously, but do you think that maybe the heart wasn't in it? And to be fair, for what I seen in the St Mirren game, it looked as though like they were finished for the season. It didn't look as though they had that fight in them, as Robert touched on earlier. I mean, Celtic could drop points during the day. It was an opportunity to kickstart a title race again, and it just looked as though the players were finished for the season.
It did, mate. I will be honest. I think a few with their flip flops on, thinking about the summer already. That's what it looked to me, mate. It looked like a team to me that thought, we're out of the domestic cups, the league's over. That's exactly what that looked like. Only thing we're playing for now is Europe. But in terms of the catalyst for Clement, mate, this goes back way further than St Mirren, Hearts. If you think on some of the games, prior to the Tottenham game, people were shouting for his seed then, mate, and then he gets a Tottenham result. That saves him, that gives him a bit of, money in the bank again. Then it's a decent result against Man United. He seemed to get these results, mate, to save his baking for a couple of weeks. That's the way it's felt to me since, a wee while now, mate. And I think, first and foremost, like any job, you have to enjoy getting into your work. And I think he made it a place where maybe it was too serious, mate. Maybe it was just, all work and no play. And I think in any working, background, where you're football or, an engineer or, whatever you're doing, a bus driver, whatever, I think you have to have a bit of fun, mate. You have to enjoy going to your work and get into your work where it's a place that you enjoy getting into, etc. And I think maybe that's one of the things he lost as well. But I think he lost that element of, this guy's cool to be around. We want to play for him. What went through brick was for him. And I think that's the sort of a siege mentality that Barry Ferguson installed, mate. I think right away he'll put down. He did say my training is going to be serious, but it's going to be a fun place to be. And I heard him touching on saying as well, even some of the staff, obviously what they're in the grounds, at training ground, etc., and maybe at Ibrox are all saying, we can feel a difference. Now, what does he mean by that? Does he mean the leash is off? It's more relaxed already. It's just different. These are just things that I'm thinking that a possibility, mate. On the back of what Catmill's done as well, maybe even from the Catmill time, is something happened there. And if it has, how many other players have felt that under Clement? How many other players are upset that we don't know about? You know what I mean? So no, I think as far as Clement's away now, mate, I think clean slate for the rest of the squad. We start again, and I think, as I said, under Barry and his team, we take no prisoners, mate, and that includes in football games.
I will say, mate, Bridge, Port makes a good point there. Was it that Clement just became too structured, too much of the headmaster? I know that we drive standards as a fan group and all the rest of it, and Barry Ferguson will be in there driving standards. But as Port says, maybe Clement just lost his way with making it an enjoyable place to come to work. Whereas I think I do agree with Port. I think it's maybe got to the point, and previous players, current players, have been going to their work going, oh, here we go again. Like, we've got to be basically going into like a football match when they're going into training. And like Barry's saying, there's got to be standards there. There's no got to be any slacking. But I think you've got to, like it says, have your enjoyment. But then when it's game face on in a match, then Barry Ferguson will be expecting a win. But I think Clement was expecting wins all the time. When you turn up through the door, you have to be 100%. When you'll be on the training pitch, you've got to be 100%. What's your thoughts, Bridge?
Well, there's one thing that I'm maybe ashamed to bring up, but well, just for the hell of it, I'm a very suspicious character, and having been captained a lot of clubs, throughout my playing career. And sometimes when a referee is coming on the pitch with you're sort of, you go like, oh no, I know him, that kind of thing. And Scottish football is quite a small area, so Rangers fans don't like, just for saying sake, him it was on, I can't even remember his name, him it was a referee in the last game there. Maybe their players get down when they see the referee, the type of things that are happening to Rangers, the decisions that they go against them, because I don't think players get worried too much about players' decisions that go against them when it's them that's actually had a tackle and that kind of thing. Well, sometimes it can, didn't work, I didn't get the ball, or whatever it be. But it's when the decision is so there in everybody's face and you don't get it. And I think there's a lot of that goes on. My theory is that they just don't want to give any decision to Rangers, and that's me. I'm bigoted and biased and emphatic when I think these things. So I don't want to cause smoke when there's no smoke, So I think that kind of thing has gone on with the players in our club, because every game you can see the frustration in the players' faces when they've been hacked down.
Bridge, is that where do you think then? Do you think it's been that the players have been dreading going back in to see the manager every day because it's not been a fun place to be?
That's probably right, yeah. And the manager doesn't seem to be able to do something. If there's something going on in the pitch that they might say to him, what about this and what about that? Forget that. Just no, I don't want to forget it. That kind of thing. And there's not very much they can do if they're not getting decisions, expected decisions, should I say, from the referee, and got no idea why. And the club, obviously the club officials can't do it because what are they going to say? I just don't know. I think there's that in there somewhere, and it's causing a problem. It's caused a problem with some of the players, and that forces sometimes people don't want to. They're not bothered, If I don't get it, I don't get it. Be Ferguson, if he didn't get the decision, he's right up to the referee's face. Hey, you, what are you saying? That kind of thing, And he was, well, of course, they better not do that now. He's manager who gets sent off and things like that. But they don't have that. Maybe they're not allowed to do that. But they just seem, the players seem down. Players are really good players, That means Diamondi's not a bad player, and so is Igamani. They're good players. Even the boy that plays on the left sometimes, I can't remember, Armani or something like that. He isn't a bad football player, but he shuts the tackles. He doesn't want to get injured, so he might only be on loan until the end of the season or something like that, And you can understand these things. But we've got a lot of players that are quite good players. We've got a lot of players that just there's something wrong. That there's something so wrong within the club that is showing up. So you listen to any Rangers fan over the last 6 weeks, and they'll say the very same things. I would imagine. They're rubbish. They're done. Clear out. That's what you need. So I'm on that note. I'm not going to say too much more in case she's getting me into trouble for saying it.
GB,
Robert, you come in, mate. Aye, fire away.
See, I understand they might not enjoy going to the work, as we'll call it, right? But see, if you're a player playing for Glasgow Rangers, come into training, into the facilities, wearing your badge every match day, playing in front of 50,000 plus each week at home, thousands travelling, earning the hard-earned cash to come and watch us. See, if you're not enjoying it, I get that. But go and take a bit of pride. Go take some responsibility of, I might not be enjoying it here, but I'm here at Rangers. I'm going to showcase what I can do. Take a bit of pride in your performance as an individual, and you might just lift up one or two players around about you. And we've not seen enough of that from the players either. Again, for me, that's a mentality part. The players' mentality, take a bit of pride, take a bit of responsibility, and look at yourself as well as the team, because it might just take you to go and showcase and have a bit of pride in your performance to lift the person next to you, the person in front of you, and before then, you kind of start getting some bit of team cohesion, and you never know, that might be a catalyst just to lift something, because the support needed a lift, and not one player took a bit of pride in their performance to try and lift us as supporters either. I understand, enjoy it, but go and take a bit of pride.
Mm-hmm. Aye. Well, on that note, we'll hear the second part of Barry Ferguson's interview today, and hopefully that will answer some of these questions we've been asking tonight. So here's the second part of our interim manager, Barry Ferguson.
Did you, to put things right, do you need to analyse what's been wrong? Because I know you've been an ambassador and you've seen a lot of the games, and so you see what's happening on the pitch, but to get to the inner sanctum and find out what's been wrong, do you speak to Tavernier, do you speak to all the players individually, do you speak to others?
Of course, that will remain private. I've spoke to some of the experienced individuals, but listen, the root cause is there's not been enough of winning games of football. It's plain and simple. There's been an inconsistency, and that's something that me and my staff and the players need to get sorted as soon as possible, and that has to start tomorrow night.
When the call came on Sunday, was Alex Ray and Colin Stewart, had they already gone? Had they been told, or were you offered them to stay?
The staff? Yeah. No, I had just been asked to bring in a staff of my own, and that's what I had to go and do throughout the night, which I like my sleep, so that was a bit strange for me. But listen, I'm just glad I got it sorted as quickly as I did, because I didn't expect that, and I've got to give the guys credit. They were, as I mentioned, they were desperate to come, which is important to me as well, because I think you need to have a good staff round about you, and they're not just yes men either. They have an opinion, and that's important to me. So, yep, it's been a crazy couple of days.
Talk us through the calls with Doddsy and Neil and Alan in terms of, did they think you were at the wind-up?
No, they didn't, if I'm being honest with you. Look, I'm a serious guy at times, you know what I mean? And when I phoned, what made me happy was their desperation to come and help me. They were desperate to come, and that's important to me. Because listen, the club means a lot to these three guys as well. And as you know, I've grew up a Rangers supporter. I've been lucky enough to play with them and captain them. And now I've been lucky enough to be given this job until the end of the season. And as I said, I'm going to give it everything I've got, and we'll see where it takes us.
One more from me, if you don't mind. Why do they think they chose you? Why did the board choose you?
I don't know, you'll need to ask Patrick, the chairman, that.
Barry, you've had a few forays into management. I think the last one was 3 years ago, finished at Alloa. Did you feel, therefore, this opportunity or similar opportunity might arise? And do you feel ready for it?
I wouldn't be sitting here if I didn't feel ready. Yep, that was 3 years ago. I went down a different route, if I'm being honest with you. As I said, I come back and done a different role for the club as an ambassador. Did I want to go back into coaching and management? If I'm brutally honest, I wasn't thinking about it. But when that phone call comes, there was no way that I was going to turn it down. And being back now a couple of days, it just excites me. I'm excited about it. I'm desperate to get started. I love being out in the grass today with the players, and I can't wait to get out in a touchline come 8 o'clock tomorrow night.
I know you're only saying you're taking it one game at a time, but you've got some daunting challenges coming up. You've got Brendan Rodgers next month with Celtic, you've got Jose Mourinho to face at Fenerbahce. I mean, how do you look ahead to those kind of challenges for yourself?
I'm only looking ahead to Wednesday. I'll be honest with you. That doesn't interest me. What interests me is tomorrow night at 8 o'clock.
But Barry, the kind of last two home performances, obviously Queen's Park and Run, hugely disappointing for everyone concerned at the club. Did you sense watching the game there was a confidence issue amongst the players, and has that translated now that you're in the building? Have you found that?
Yeah, I mean, I was at both games. I can see it's clearly that it's a group of players that are low in confidence, but my job today was try and pick that up a bit, and I certainly got a response. My coaching staff certainly got a response. That was when I was driving in this morning at 7 o'clock. That was my thought process. I need to get a kick out of these guys. They need to give me a reaction, and they certainly gave me a reaction this morning. I couldn't ask for any more of them. Now they'll go away. We'll meet up tomorrow, and we'll see where it takes us. But I'm confident I will get a rise out of them.
And is that finding the balance? Because some players, as you well know, need a kick up the backside. Other players need an arm around the shoulder. I mean, everybody's different. Is that striking that balance going to be key as well?
Yep, that has got to be key. I know the way football operates nowadays, some players need an arm round about them, some maybe need a wee clip round about the ear. I'll suss out who needs that. But what I will say is the response I got today was the response that I wanted driving in this morning.
Is there a sense of unfinished business for you here, Barry? I know you've been an ambassador at the club recently, but the way you left as a player second time around was unsatisfying. Is there a sense of coming back here and finishing off some unfinished business?
There's a sense of pride, and look, it wasn't ideal the way it finished the last time, but listen, I was given an opportunity a year and a half ago to come back and represent the club as an ambassador. As I said earlier on at the start of the presser, I loved that role. Now that's totally changed, and now my role is to get this group of players winning games of football on a regular basis.
Barry, do you still feel that with your brief meeting that you had with the players today that you can get something out of them that maybe previous managers couldn't?
Do I feel if I could?
You and your staff can get something out that maybe previous managers?
100%. I sensed that in the meeting, even before we went out in the grass. And when we were out in the grass, it was bubbly, it was noisy. That's what I want to hear. And when it's like that, that tells me that a group of players are enjoying their training session.
But you mentioned...
You still feel they've got the hunger and desire to play for a club like Rangers just with what they've had to deal with over the past few weeks?
Listen, as a footballer, you need to go through some difficult times, and listen, the last couple of results, certainly against Queen's Park and St Mirren, have been tough, but you need to show a bit of character about you, and that's what my team will show tomorrow night. As I said, we're going to a place, they're not blinded, they totally know what they're going to be going into. They're coming up against an experienced manager who I've got a lot of respect for, and also he's got a real good team as well. They've got a physical side to them, but they've also got players that can hurt you. So we're briefed on that, we're ready for that, and I just can't wait for tomorrow night to get going.
Barry, you've noticed the disconnect between the fans and the team of late. What is it that the fans need to see for this team beyond winning games to kind of get them back on it?
A bit of energy, a bit of desire, stuff like that. I've explained that to the players. That's what I feel I've been watching them over the last couple of weeks, certainly with a few results that we've just spoke about, the Queen's Park and the St Mirren game. But listen, winning breeds confidence. But we had a good chat with them, we've had a good training session with them, and as I said, tomorrow night is going to be key. We've not missed a trick in terms of what we're coming up against, and they know what I expect of them.
Last one, Colin.
Barry, we've had a number of young players in and around the first team squad so far this season. Is that something you see doing more of in the next 3 months, try to develop some of these guys and see if they are good enough to step up full time? Yeah,
age is just a number in terms of young players, but we have got some talented young players, there's no doubt. You've got Bailey Rice, you've got Finlay Curtis, who have broke into the team over the last number of weeks. If they're good enough and they show enough in training, I will have no issues with playing these guys. So the door's open for young players in the academy, and it's important as a football club that you always produce your own. And as I said, I'll do a lot of work to try and progress these young guys as footballers.
But he said a couple of times that you jumped at the chance to come to Rangers as head coach. You didn't have to think twice about it. If the next 3 months go the way you want it to go and the way the club wants it to go, and they come calling and offer you the job permanently, would it be too good to turn down?
I'll be honest with you, I've not even thought about that. My mindset at this moment in time is getting a result against Clement tomorrow. It's one game at a time. There's a lot of games, you've just mentioned, a lot of games coming up over the next period, and no, my thoughts are I'm here until the end of the season, and I'm going to give it everything I have got to try and start to get results for this football club.
I don't know if you can see what the Rangers really mean to me in these last few years. I've been afraid that we might drift away, so I've been telling old stories and singing songs that made me think about where we came from, and that's the reason why I feel so very proud today. So let me tell you that I love you, and I think about you all the time. Ibrox Stadium is calling me, and now I'm coming home. To think of life without the Rangers, you know that it would make me more sad. Glasgow Rangers, you're everything I've ever had. We won 9 in a row, and I'm still dreaming of Brian Laudrup and Trevor Stephen. Big Marvin Andrews said keep believing. Davy Cooper on the wing, and we remember Gaza with great affection. The day the helicopter changed direction, and Jimmy Baxter was pure perfection. Super Valley scores again. So let me tell you that I love you, and I think about you all the time. Ibrox Stadium is calling me, and now So let me tell you that I love you, and I think about you all the time. Ibrox Stadium is calling me, and I'm coming home. To think of life without the Rangers, you know that it would make me more sad. Glasgow Rangers, you're everything I've ever had. To think of life without the Rangers, you know that it would make me more sad. Glasgow Rangers is everything I've ever had.
Why don't you give us a call on 0141 356 1972? It's your show, it's your platform. Let's hear from you.
That song was officially for the old bear the night. I'm sure he appreciated that song. We're all back, folks.
I am here, mate.
Yes, mate.
Port, you had a wee question, mate, just before the Barry Ferguson second party's interview, mate.
It's just in terms of, you know, another thought I had in regards to the previous manager's tenure, mate, and it's something that's bugged me probably the whole season. In terms of fitness, the injuries, do you guys ever think that our players especially looked as fit as they possibly could have been under Clement? And then obviously, I don't personally think they were. Obviously, you've got that, you know, the sports science team in regards to injuries, which I don't think Barry Ferguson will take too kindly when they tell him, you know, oh, Diamondi can't play this week because he played 2 games last week, etc. I think one of the first things Barry Ferguson will do is get that team fitter, because I think they need, again, like I said earlier on, a rocket up their backsides to, you know, make them a fitter squad for a start, Gary, because I think that's one of their big problems. I just don't think we look physically fit at all, and I've thought that for the start of the season, mate. And by the way, congratulations, Bridgeman, on that song, boy. That was a great song.
Robert, mate, you want to come in that one that when Port's asking about? Are we going to see maybe the excuses getting taken away for some of these players that they've got a wee sprain on their calf and all that, Kero? And I don't think Barry Ferguson will stand for any of that nonsense.
No, not at all. And Port's right. I think over the course of the season, we haven't looked fully fit at all. I know there's maybe a handful, if that many, of games where you could say it's been a 90-minute performance, but everything else has been either the first half or the last half. I've not seen probably a fully fit Rangers squad, and that includes substitutes, reserves that are coming in when people are injured and suspended, since Steven Gerrard, if I'm being brutally honest. I know Gio had some fit boys in the camp, got us obviously to a European final, but as a whole, I can't think of, under Clement, when we've had a full fit matchday squad who looked they could go the distance in 90 minutes. I generally can't. I probably think the only, as I said, handful of games, the Spurs game you can make an argument for at Ibrox was probably the best 90-minute performance. But was it a complete 90 minutes or was it in spells? People have different opinion. But Port's right. I don't think we've been really fit, and I think that's one thing that Barry will get them going. And Neil McCann especially as well. I know he's not going to be doing all the running, but he'll hammer it into us. But they should be hammering it into the players, and I think that's something you may see on how we approach the games as well. We know Tav's lost a bit of pace, but we're still relying on him to bomb up the line, and he would lose possession, get caught out. So the style needs to adapt as well if players aren't fully fit to do 90 minutes. And that's one thing that Clement didn't do, was change the style or change the system. So it'll be interesting to see how we approach it to go to players' strengths that they've actually got currently.
I agree, mate. Bridgman, in that second part of Barry Ferguson's interview, he touched on the youth side of things that, again, the age is just no number. It's if you're good enough. So, like say, Bailey Rice, Finlay Curtis, again, the gauntlet's getting handed down to them under, much like Gerrard in a sense, that you're playing under a kind of icon of the club, and now's your opportunity. Barry Ferguson was a young man who broke through under Advocat and stuff like that. So that says youth's getting another chance at this again. And I don't know a better time for youth to progress through a Rangers team to show that they're going to be ones for the future, Bridgman.
Well, he said quite categorically that youth's there. He's spoken to a couple of them today to assure them that the chances are there. I think we'll get 3 right young players that are trying to get through. Some of them have made it and had a couple of chances. Some of them not, But it's if he's saying to them, "Don't worry, guys. A chance is going to come, and you get a whack at it." Sometimes, and they know they're no daft. Sometimes it happens for them, and sometimes it doesn't. And that's basically it, for them. But I like the cut of Ferguson's jib. I think what he's doing is really good. And if he's been speaking to these youngsters, as he said, then I'm happy because they'll know. They'll know. Everything about what's happening here is all new, even for people like us. We're sort of sitting in the sidelines, waiting and things happening. And when it's going to happen, we don't know, but we feel something's going to happen, because if there's anybody can, I would imagine, make it, then those 4 that they've got there are running the place. Ferguson, McGregor, Dodds and McCann, all great players for the Rangers in their own rights at different positions. So it's all there for there. There's a blueprint. There's what we've got. There's the players. Because before the new year, they boys, our team was playing really well, really, really well. And all of a sudden, within 6 weeks, we've got varied forms, varied games, and Europe, the most, shall we say, Europe's been the best. We're playing better in Europe. And so I just don't know exactly how it's going to happen, but I'm sure Ferguson's going to look at it in a more positive manner than Big Philippe did. I really do. I think these players are needed. There's a change of mood. They'll see a change of mood, and they'll see a different way that another manager's going to work.
I think, Port, the Barry Ferguson thing, it was interesting. They kept pressing him on saying, "Are you going to be here longer than the end of the season?" etc., etc. I think the remit will be to get the team stable and to, as Barry Ferguson saying, win as many games as possible. I wonder if the team do respond well, that they go with this setup with the new owners coming in. Now, a lot of people said that because the new owners are coming in and there's maybe possible money behind it and all the rest of it, that they'll want their own team. But I think it would be silly as not to think that the new owners are going to be watching this new coaching team with fond eyes, knowing that they're Rangers boys. And as we've seen across the city, sometimes it can actually work. I mean, they had Lennon come in and he won them trophies and got them playing really well. So it's not to say that Barry Ferguson can't come in. I know that he's got very little experience in managing football teams and stuff like that, but neither did Lennon. And he seemed to galvanise a Celtic squad. So it's not to say I don't think that a Barry Ferguson could do really well here, and in time maybe even bring in even more people to help him.
I'm not sure it's not a possibility, mate. I think the appointment's a sensible appointment, and what I mean by that is, I think in terms of where the team is on their knees, confidence at an all-time low, I think it was difficult to look around to try and get an interim manager for I don't know. Say like somebody's got a job like Alan Pardew. I heard people saying the boy dies for it was at Everton and stuff like that as well. I think it's sensible in terms of, well, we're waiting on to find out further news in regards to the 49ers takeover. I think it was sensible to bring these guys in, mate, for this wee bit of project for 3 months. Do I honestly see it long term? You can never tell, mate, because it depends how the team, and the club react to Barry Ferguson and his coaching staff, mate. Because if he comes in, like you're saying, and hits the ground running, and say wins the next 11 games, then of course he's got to be in with a shout at least for an interview. But I think, and don't shoot me down here, mate, but I think under the 49ers guidance, I think they'll be looking to bigger and better, mate, than Barry Ferguson. Because when Neil Lennon came in, if you remember right, Rangers were a club on their knees as well, mate, and he won a lot of stuff with a poor Scottish league and a very poor Rangers side. So it made him look like, Jose Mourinho, when really he can only beat what's there, and we were very poor. Barry Ferguson coming in against, a seasoned manager in Rodgers with a lot of experience and a very strong Celtic side, mate. So, I think short term, so in my opinion, short term, I think it's sensible, and we need to galvanise the support under Barry Ferguson. We need to galvanise this team. But long term, I think, new owners possible will have another idea, mate.
Mm-hmm. I'm kind of 50-50. Port. Robert, your thoughts, mate? Do you see it being a long-term thing, just depending on results? Like, I think if Barry Ferguson goes out to Parkhead and beats them 3-0, and then we get them back at home again and beats them 3-0, and it's convincing performances and all the rest of it, there might be something in it for future-wise. Maybe no so much manager, but maybe a part of something. A restructure come the summer?
Personally, I think obviously once the takeover is completed, I think they'll have their own ideas. I agree with Port that I think they'll want a bigger name than a Barry Ferguson. If they're coming in, they'll want to start strong. They'll want to have a namesake at the top of the managerial list that they'll go and try and go for. If there's money there, go and get a manager who's going to be there for longevity, who can produce players, take on players as projects, take on players through the academy, take us into Europe and beyond. I think they'll want their own kind of man in. But right now, I agree with Port that short term it makes sense, but it does give the guys a platform to maybe put a wee foot in the door and say, this is what we have done, or this is what I've done, if it's an individual. In those 3 months, again, I think it's more bringing the players back together, getting some buzz, some energy, and bringing the fans back on board. Then, come the end of the season, you get the hype with the takeover. You might get a big name manager. I mean, despite the troubles that we've been in the past few weeks and months, it's still a global football club, and a lot of people would run to be manager of Rangers. So it was a quick solution with the guys that have come in, but I think long term, the new regime, once it's hopefully fully completed, will want a namesake. But the guys in currently have got a great chance to maybe showcase what they can do and be part of a setup, whether it be in the first team coach or whether it be within the academy. Because again, we've done a lot of changes with the academy recently, and having ex-pros to teach the young ones coming up, it's great knowledge firsthand and experience of guys who've lived and breathed the youth system and got through into the first team and won leagues and medals and been on European stages. So again, there's a lot of pros that you could offer them a job somewhere within the club structure or system, the way it's going.
Can I come in on that?
Bridge.
Go on.
I was going to say, Robert, I'll come back, just so I don't forget, I'll come back to that on Kevin Thompson, wondering why he wasn't in amongst the kind of structure there that has been brought in. I don't know, is he actually fully started in the academy? Keep that question handy for us, Robert, and I'll come back to it after Bridge.
Well, I was just going to say, God almighty, it just went right in my head there. I was going to say that can, for instance, as the interim manager, can he bring in anybody he wants, for instance, at a coaching level? Can he increase his coaching staff? These are just questions, because the one thing I would like to see, and I'm not being funny when I say this, I would like to have seen him bringing in his brother, Derek, because I thought that boy was a tremendous player for Rangers. And I don't know, he's got a lot of, shall we say, a lot of favour with the BBC, so he may not want to leave that job. But I think he would do a good job for us, because he knows the game, and he goes to a whole load of games, and he knows what Scottish football is all about. And I think he'd be an asset to us. However, it's just a thought, that's all. So he'd shoot me down. Go on.
No, not to shoot you down, Bridge, but I know if I was getting a job and then my brother was getting involved, it wouldn't end well. The two of us would end up arguing about who should start.
Of course. That's given that Barry Ferguson could work with his brother, he might think the same as you. That's a non-starter, but it's just me. It's just asking a question, that was all.
Aye, not at all, mate, not at all. Robert, I just back to that Kevin Thompson one. That's never been fully announced yet. I don't know. I seen them post something about it's been the worst kept secret, but I've not actually seen him start in the youth side of things yet. So I don't know what's actually going on there. And then Barry Ferguson, like you say, is turned up as well. When you're talking about legends, Kevin Thompson's been one of the guys as well. It's been there and done it.
I think there was rumours that he was going to be the head of academy. I think that was kind of the first news it broke, that Kevin Thompson was going to be. But I think with Nils Coppin becoming the technical director, they kind of oversaw that, and he went in as a coach with Stephen Smith, another former player, as a under-18s coach. But again, they're still part of the youth setup. They're still getting players ready to move on and develop. So a bit surprisingly, maybe he wasn't part of Barry's setup. But again, having ex-players further down in the youth system can only mean good things as well. And Kevin Thompson's obviously got his own academy as well, through his own kind of individual coaching and things. So I think there's probably more use for Kevin Thompson within the youth system than within the first team for 3 months. I mean, I know he could get the job 3 months up with the first team and then go back down, but I think it would probably make sense, and again, longevity, having somebody like Kevin Thompson, that experience and that mindset of being in the youth system and getting these players ready to come up, because we do need to start producing some more, as Barry said in his presser earlier on.
Or do you think that, like, say, Kevin Thompson's just not so much he's wanting it to get left alone, but do you think the new coaching teams came in and just said, no, leave him where he is. We want him to concentrate on his role, his new job remit, to get started on bringing this academy up to standards, rather than, like as Robert says, disrupt him for 3 months and then he has to go back and then really kickstart it. Whereas if he gets his foot in the door now, he gets started. But like I said, I've still not seen something confirmed for the Rangers yet. It's all been kind of fan media. It's I think it's confirmed it. So I don't know. Have you heard it report about it?
The last I seen, mate, it was basically him, like Robert said, him and Stephen Smith were coaches at under 18s. And maybe that's what Barry's thought, like Robert says. I think maybe he's thought, leave him where he is, because part of what I'm trying to install in the first team squad, I want him to do it at youth level, at 18s. So what it's like to play for Rangers, what the demands are to play for Rangers, etc., etc. So to me, that's a fair idea, just to start installing that immediately as soon as you sign for the club. It should be ingrained into your heart and your spirit, your soul, everything, what it is to play for a club. Because I think that's been lost for far too long. And in terms of the current management staff, how if you're Diamondi, Raskin, Barron, Rice, Air Force centre mids, mate, Barry Ferguson is a guy to steal information off of, and these players, mate, should be absolute sponges over the next 3 months and try to drain everything they can out of Barry Ferguson and what it's like to be a midfielder and a Rangers captain. Because I think if he's only going to be about for 3 months, mate, use him when you lose him, because you're going to lose all that experience for him. Neil McCann, Alan McGregor, all that experience. Every player in that squad should be, soaking everything out of these guys to, further their careers. Because, as I said, I think there's a lot lost. What's upset me quite a lot this season is the fact you've only ever seen maybe Conor Barron and John Souttar, two Scottish representatives who've been sort of in the team. And I think that's another thing we're lost on. We don't have enough Scottish influence in my team at times. But if you look back at the good times, we always had a core of Scottish players, and we did really well with it. So I'd like to see us getting back to that as well, bud.
I agree, Port. I think, no matter what happens with this coaching team, we need to find a place for them. But obviously, as long as they do a good enough job. But I think, like you say, the amount of experience there, Ferguson, McCann, Dodds, and McGregor and all that. McGregor, I can probably see maybe going long term because he obviously dismissed the goalkeeping coach. So that might be a thing that McGregor's got to be there longer than probably the other ones. But I do hope if these boys hit the ground running and they show themselves that they can actually improve players, then whatever happens with this takeover, I'm really hoping that they're in and around the club. I mean, even if it does go back to the ambassador role for Barry or whatever, but the ambassador role for me has got to be more, again, turning up to the training centres, talking to people, maybe talking to the new players as well, just to keep that kind of instilling in them that this is Glasgow Rangers. You're not here for, a holiday. You're here to win things and earn your coin. But we're running into the last 40 minutes of the show, and we've got a game tomorrow night, so it'll be really good to hear from you. So let's hear from you.
Why don't you give us a call on 0141 356 1972? It's your show, it's your platform. Let's hear from you.
Yep, let's hear from you. It's the feel-good factor's back at the club. Like I says, we've got a legend there, well, a few legends back in the coaching team, and they seem really up for tomorrow night. So on that note, we've gave Barry a lot of staunchness that it's time to talk about the game tomorrow night, lads. Bridgeman, come at yourself. Do you see a lot of changes tomorrow night? I know Barry's only had 1 day worth of training, but he seems pretty stubborn on wanting to play his way. So I think that we will see some sort of style change tomorrow.
Well, first of all, from a defensive perspective, we don't know who's fit and who's not at the moment. I think the last I heard was Souttar isn't available. But then, miracles can happen if you follow what I mean. But I don't think he's going to be there. So it'll be the same centre halves that were playing the weekend there, I would imagine. They're not bad. They just need to get it all together. The players need to talk to each other on the park and say, I'm getting that, so you cover me, all that, other things. Port Bear will tell you, he's played at a good level. It's all about communication that you don't necessarily hear. So when players are running past each other, they're saying, I'll get that bit the next time, and that kind of thing. And I just see the defence, obviously Tav's in because he's a captain, and the goalkeeper's the same. They're not going to change that. And, Yefty's probably the only left back they've got at the moment, and that's in all honesty. So, but these guys were terrible at the weekend, just terrible. So I don't know whether he's got other young players there available that he would take a chance on. But no, I think the team would be roughly the same as they did. I think so anyway.
Fort Bridgeman laid down the gauntlet there. Do you expect a kind of structure change? Do you think we might actually see like a Bailey Rice come in or a Curtis get a wee start in the team tomorrow?
I don't think so, mate. I don't think, in terms of, first team playing squad, I think the change is going to be probably in the system. One place, you know, after I've said to you, work, mate, you know, one place I feel we're getting absolutely dominated most weekends is midfield, because Clement was so hell bent on that too, playing in there, and more often than not, like the cup against teams like Kilmarnock, St Mirren, St Johnstone, all these teams flood the midfield with 5, 4 at the back, and that was leaving 2 on 3, 2 on 4 at times, 2 on 5. And Diamante, Barron or Raskin, whoever they thought the combination would be, were getting ran ragged, mate. They couldn't. They were trying to chase every ball. Raskin was doing well a few weeks there, chasing, you know, every blade of grass wee man was covering. But it's too much, mate. It's too much running. I mean, 2 up against 3 or 4 is absolute shocking, mate. And again, so I think that's what you'll see. You see a change in the system. And I think the demands will be different as well, as in terms of strength and standing up for yourself. We've seen the boy NCR at the weekend getting that wee nudge in the back. Again, must do better, mate. You have to be stronger than that. You don't let the ball bounce for a start, but you shouldn't be getting bullied. A centre half shouldn't be getting bullied off a forward player. You know, he should be taking control. So I think these are the things. There'll be lots of talking, guys. There'll be lots of talking. You know, not a lot can be done on a training pitch in a day. You know, you can discuss shape, you can discuss formations. So I think what it'll be, mate, if we talk to players individually, tell them what he wants, you know, out them. We tweaks in formation. I think that's as far as it'll go, mate.
Robert, mate, just again, your thoughts on the tomorrow night. What you expecting to see from like Barry Ferguson and the coaching team? Do you expect any surprises with the starting lineup?
I think in terms of personnel, with players coming back from injury, obviously I don't think there was many questions asked about who's available for the game tomorrow night. They were all obviously about in the past 24, 48 hours for Barry. But I don't see much change in personnel. What I'm hopeful there is what Portbear said, a tweak in the formation. I think it's evident that this 4-2-3-1 certainly doesn't work. And if it doesn't work with these players, then I don't see kind of Barry keeping it, but I do take into consideration that he said 1 day training. He didn't want to give him too much information. But these guys are professional footballers. I mean, you could go to Hadji and say you're not playing left wing, you're not playing as a 10. You're kind of just dropping back to help the midfield and go 4-3-3. That's what I'm kind of hoping to see. A bit more attacking, like you said, we're going to go and do. I know it's all kind of words and it's what we want to hear and it's what we've been crying out for. But with 1 day training, how much of a big change can we really do, especially with the personnel? But I'm hopeful, mate, that I do see a bit kind of a tweak in the system, even if it's having, as I said, a 4-3-3, but Raskin holding with Diomande and Hadji just in front, and then Tierney on the right, somebody on the left, and a man up front again. You could probably put Danilo out on the left, or you might surprises and put Yefty up one and bring Yilmaz back to left back. I don't know. That might be a surprise in its own, but I think hopefully there'll be a wee change in the system. But personnel-wise, I don't see many, mate.
Well, I'll lay down the gauntlet. I'll give you time to think about it. So think about your starting 11 for the morrow, lads, as I go round with this next question. So the boys have, Barry's been in. He has technically read the Riot Act on them. Is this squad's time to show their worth? And like by the end of these 11 weeks, or if nobody showed it, do you think that they'll get shown the door? Do you think there's a bit of that as well, that Barry's remit is to go in and maybe be a bit of an advisor to the board or to Patrick Stewart to say, look, these boys are just definitely no cut up for being winners, and I would advise you to look to move them on. Portbear?
I think that'll be part of his remit, mate. He'll be, because of his experience at our club, he knows what's required from the players. So I think he will certainly have Patrick Stewart's ear and telling him over the next 11 weeks, you know, he'll cut it, he won't, you know, and we need to try and move them on, or we need to try and retain them. He will definitely have a say, mate, of some sort on his thoughts, whether it's listening to or not, mate, it's a different matter. I think they should listen to his experience because, as I said, if anybody knows a player that's going to cut the mustard at Rangers, Barry Ferguson played with a lot of players for different countries. So he's got experience in that, mate. He knows what it takes to play at our club, and I think they'd be stupid not to use experience in terms of players, definitely.
Bridge, do you think, mate, for the Mora?
I
Same
think
question.
that I don't see. I must agree with Port. I don't see many changes at all, other than there might be one, but I think he wants to. It's about getting the strategy in, whatever he wants. Are you going to play? What are we going to play? We're going to go 4-4-2. We're going to play 4-3-4. We're going to play 4-4-2. What are we going to play? He's going to have to do that. And he's only had a day training him, so it's going to be quite difficult. He might get a wee bit tomorrow. And it's what kind of thing were they used to playing under Philippe? Was it 4-3-3? You know what I mean?
4-2-3-1 half the time.
4-2-3-1. Okay, then. So there's another one, and he could do that. That's all I can see him doing. If he wants to change something, I don't know if he knows enough about the players to be able to make valid picks. But whatever he does, it's going to be mostly strategic side of the game. What we're going to do with this and what we're going to do that. And you're now playing. Come away for the left wing. I want you to play in there. 10 yards in, not on the line, but 10 yards in, because this is going to be a tough game. Make no mistakes. And I think my guy he'll be desperate to beat Rangers. Desperate to do it. We're a very poor team, and the fear that any team ever had about playing against Rangers is all gone. It's been gone for most of the season. So we need to prove that we aren't that team anymore. We've changed and we're going to get better. And that's now the manager's got his chance, or the managing squads have got their chances. I'm quite sure that they're going to get there and they're going to do really good for themselves. I'm quite sure of it. But I don't know what kind of strategy he's going to use. I don't know. I couldn't even try to second guess what he's going to do. I do agree with Port and most of it, but as far as I'm concerned, it's going to be the same. It's going to be the same.
I think we've been joined by a caller. Hello?
You have indeed.
How are you getting on?
Hello.
It's Bob. How are you getting on, mate?
I'm doing all right, pal. How you doing?
Good, mate.
I'm
What's
doing
your
all
points
right.
for the night?
I'm not feeling very great, but don't worry, I'll be all right. Just looking forward to the Mora and to get things going again. I know the season's done, but just, for Barry to get in there with the boys, real Rangers men, get it stirred up, get it done, see if we can play well tomorrow night and get the win. Basically, that's it. And win as many games as we can at the end of the season. And then we'll see where the takeover takes us and what's going to happen next year, eh? Simple as, because somebody's got to put up a challenge to this lot. And we're the only ones that are capable of it. So I'm sitting here, like everybody else that supports the Rangers, on a bloody bed of frustration. Sorry, Ox, my yellow card again. So that's basically it, boys. I think that's what we can all say, eh?
Aye,
it's been a
John,
good time for the club.
No, but hopefully good times are coming. Hopefully good times are coming back. Barry was very positive today. Did you enjoy his interview?
I did enjoy his interview. He was good. He's a lot better at the top than I thought he would have been. That's not an insult to him. But he was good. He held the press very well. He held the press very well on Monday when he got appointed into the job. I was quite proud of him. I always liked him as a player and as a person. Real Rangers man, just like the rest of us. So I think Barry might do okay.
Right, Bob, I'll just cut across you because the callers have actually come in thinking fast. We've been joined with David as well. Hi, David. How are you getting on, mate?
How's it going, lads?
Thoughts on Barry Ferguson, mate, and his interview today?
Well, first of all, I said I thought the manager now, Philip Clement, seems a decent lad, a decent guy. But I'd been saying for a wee while that he should have been taken out of that position. And he has been now. But I'm kind of staggered at some of the comments the Rangers fans over the last 24 hours towards Barry Ferguson and the guys that are coming in. Now, they're not coming in to... This is only to see his our line for 3 months here. He's got a phone call to come into Ibrox. He's jumped to it right away, and he's bringing in guys. And I'm going to tell you something as well. I watched that wee training video the day on YouTube, and we've all been bought into stuff like this. But see if that doesn't give you a wee warm feel in your stomach and a wee bit of pride back and seeing the kind of guys back at Ibrox. They want to succeed at Ibrox as much as we want them to succeed. Barry came away with a comment last night in his quick interview. It was about a 7-minute interview, but about being aggressive. And the problem is with Clement at the time, I felt as if he was coming away with stuff. You know, you talk to your mates at half time or you're watching. He was watching a different game to us. But if you listen to Barry Ferguson, regardless of whether he's on the radio now, you hear people going like, coaching badges and all that. I don't care what Barry Ferguson's record was with Alloa or Celtic Hearts or whatever. But one thing I do know, he gets it. And I heard him today, every one of the guys are in there for 3 months. Let's not go mental here. We all know what's happening next season. But these boys are going, let's get behind them. I can't believe some of the comments for some Rangers fans over the last 24 hours just stunned me. But I wish them all the best tomorrow. And I'm delighted he's in. Delighted. Who you want? You want another form? I don't mean, I'm not saying to you guys, but what I'm saying is some Rangers fans going away with some silly comments. They guys they get it. And Barry was speaking exactly how I speak at half time in a game. You know, look, he sees what we see is rang in the park. So we'll see what happens.
David, do you know something? Obviously, you're saying about our fans, but do you know something I noticed in the press conference as well? Some of them are talking to Barry as if he's the 18-year-old boy again. And they're saying, like, God, when you phoned up Billy Dodds, did you think you were taking the mickey? I mean, he's lucky that Barry Ferguson was professional and didn't give him a shake. With that jink, Barry Ferguson's in here for a joke. You know what I mean? It's mental.
Let's be honest, mate. Barry Ferguson went down to Wembley and played against the so-called governor, Paul Ince, in the middle of the park and dominated him as a pup. He done it against Stefan Effenberg. He done it against Lothar Matthäus, Bayern Munich. Now, Barry Ferguson's no mug. See all this nonsense and all. Don't be a kid. Barry Ferguson knows football. And I'm quite content with Barry in here for 3 months. In fact, I'm delighted with it. They get it. They get it. These guys get it. Listen, see if you lose a game, they're going to be hurting just as much as us. I was getting the feeling recently, we're drawing points here, there and everywhere. And no harm to Phil Clement. But you have to win. Barry was asked a question, what do you want for your players? He says, win games. And that is as simple as that. Win games of football.
Port Bear, he's right into it. Barry was just like straightforward, straight in the middle of the day. I want to win games and I expect the best out of the players.
He kept it simple, mate. Great comments, David, by the way. I get me under a wee feeling in my stomach when I heard his interview today, mate. I'll not tell you how I was feeling, mate. I tell you, I was buzzing.
Who needs enemies, man, when we've got some people that are coming away with some daft comments online and whatever. What's he doing in there? He's in for 3 months. Let's remember this. There's a whole different picture next season.
I said that earlier on, mate. I said that earlier on in the show that, you know, in my opinion, that I felt he was only in for 3 months because obviously things are about to change big style. So, I know, I agree with you, mate. Definitely think we've got a caller coming in there, guys.
All right, cheers, Paul. We've been joined as well by Angus. How you doing, Angus, mate?
Yeah, very good, guys. And I've been listening to the show, and I just wanted to share. I'm also very enthusiastic about Barry Ferguson coming in as sort of temporary manager from now to the end of the season. And as a season ticket holder, the sort of rubbish we've had to watch all season, I'm glad we're going to get a few Rangers men that are going to sort of let these players know what it's all about, because we have been watching absolute rubbish all this season.
Aye, Bob Gerrard, it's been, you touched on it when you came in, the on the call there, mate, that it's been drab for us, and hopefully, like it says, Barry's in for 11 weeks. You never know with this Europa League run. Stranger things have happened. We might go on something special.
No, he might. We'll see. But the point is, Davey's right there. We've got Rangers men in charge now. And I think by and large with the support, that's what we all want. We want Rangers people in charge of the club. And I'm afraid it didn't work out with Philippe Clement. The downfall of him started last season in the 3 vital games. We could have won the league last year. They're getting all the plaudits and all the praise. We could have won the league last year. So, but we never. And here we are. So at the end of the day, let's just hope that we're at the top of the hill and we're going to get to the other side of it now, if you take my point. I'm glad that Barry and the boys are in. They're all Rangers, man. Like you say, if we do suffer a defeat, they'll all hurt just as much as we are, because the supporters just as big as we are. And they prayed for the club, and they know exactly what it's all about and what it means. And that was getting installed with them with Philippe Clement. He was wanting to play nice triangular football, and it didn't work out. Did you all get an impression that Rangers were too soft? Anyone of you? Rangers were far too soft. They couldn't handle the rough and tumble of Scottish football all the time. That's what I thought, anyway. And like the gentleman says there, we've not been watching good football all year, and hopefully that'll change.
Just jumping in, lads. Sorry, again, another callers came in. I think we'll be joined with DeMark. How you doing, mate?
Good evening, lads. I'm not getting excited about Barry Ferguson being the manager. Rangers man or no, we're all Rangers men. You know what I mean? Totally disagree with David. Totally disagree with... I can't get excited. And if people think Barry Ferguson's going to come in there and give us exciting football, he's deluded, honestly. And I know that this show's about opinions, and that's my opinion. And I think it's like a disaster right now. I don't want it to be a disaster.
I come in there, Mark. I'll let you go.
Batter in. Oh, of course.
My point is, mate, I know Barry Ferguson's not going to come in here and change the whole, he's in here for 3 months, mate. So, regardless of whether he plays great football, poor football, whatever, it's not going to be a huge difference. But the bottom line is you've got guys in there that care about Rangers and they know the expectations of the fans. Barry Ferguson could win every single game to the end of the season. He'll still not get a Rangers job next season. The whole point is you've got a guy in there that was coming away with stuff in the media and he was letting us down time and time again. You need Rangers. I get it, mate, and I get it. But I'm not really interested in how well Rangers play football towards the end of the season. I just want us to start winning games.
Again, we've got Rangers.
Who do you think we could have got, Dominic?
I don't know, but
one at a time.
Yep. As far as I'm concerned, this is the board protecting themselves. This will be the last disaster, a series of disasters as far as I'm concerned. Hopefully not. Hopefully, I'd love to come on here and say I'm 100% completely wrong, and Barry's done a brilliant job and the rest of the team. But honestly, I cannot see it, and I just think it's the board protecting themselves so they can turn and say, oh well, you've all wanted Rangers men, so we put Rangers men in. And that's to me, it's the dying embers of a board and investors that just haven't got a clue about running a football club. That's my opinion. I hope I'm completely wrong, but that's just my opinion. You know what I mean? I just don't. Brilliant players, heart of lions, a lot of them, fighters, battlers. Feel it, hot like the rest of us. Know what I mean? But management-wise, it's 2 different games, isn't it? Playing managers. Know what I mean?
Come in there, just another wee quick one. I don't watch sports scene, right? But I seen a clip on Twitter the other day for Neil McCann, right? And this was for the weekend there. Now, it was a 2-minute clip, and it was basically watching Rangers. The young boy Inshallah, who's been he's been a real shining light the last couple of games, but there he can hang me. He'll get used to that, the rough and tumble, propers never hang me. But Neil McCann came out with a couple of things. Son, just hang me and drive home with the ball. See the negative passes backwards. Now see instantly. I know that sounds daft. You don't need to be Jose Mourinho to notice that. Rangers are putting so much pressure on the keeper, the back line, and every single team sniffs that kind of fear with Rangers aimed at coming on to us. I don't think you'll get this with us because right away, I seen it. Neil McCann was talking about it, and he's talking exactly how I would talk watching a Rangers game back and how you lads would talk. We've all watched Rangers for years. You see this negative ball back by throw-ins. How many times did we take a throw-in and before you know it, it's back to your keeper? We're throwing. I mean, it doesn't take, crazy, great football-minded people. Get on the front foot, get aggressive. Come on, look at wee Eggman. He's been right after Boyle. I mean, that wee boy was the top player in Scotland for a month there. He's been right after Boyle. There's a reason. He's putting him out and Dessers is coming in. Honestly, we'll wait and see. But he's got 3 months. We know Barry's not going to be here for long. But I'm just delighted that it's guys in there that know what it's all about. And they know. See if that full-time whistle goes. They know they're hurting just as much as us. And I know people go, that's too old school, that kind of stuff. But is it really? I've watched managers come into Rangers now, like Pedro Caixinha coming in. There's Clement coming in, all these coaching badges. Well, I'm afraid all the guys with the coaching badges, they're getting it wrong. And they're getting it wrong big time when it comes to the winning mentality at Ibrox. That's my opinion, lads. Listen, love yous and leave yous. Wish Barry all the best.
Do you have to go? See, at
the Bath's
who are we going to get, Dominic? Who do you go, son? Who are we going to get?
No, it's David who's talking there, Bob, yeah.
Aye. Right, lads.
Oh, was it David?
Right.
Cheers, Bob, with a brilliant call. Brilliant call.
Who are we going to get? That's one thing I was going to ask.
No, I'm talking who are we going to get at this moment in time. You've got people in here temporary, Rangers men, temporary, that are going to try and drive things on.
Right, sorry, lads. Right.
Are you off, David?
We're going to get Rangers.
David, don't leave. Right, don't leave, David.
Right, Bridgeman, just out to get one of the other calls.
We'll batter come on it. I can see his leather name tomorrow.
Good man, lads. Good man.
Love you.
Take care, David. Cheers, man. Angus, you want to come in just on Dermot's point, mate? How are you feeling about the whole situation with Barry and the backroom team? Are you just seeing it again as a short-term thing and that will be the end of it?
Yeah, I do agree with that. I think it would be a short-term thing. But I remember when Philip Clement first came in, I remember it was Hibs we were playing at home and the ball went forward and we attacked. And I was generally excited thinking about the football we're going to watch. But if you fast forward to last Saturday, we were dreadful. And the ball went backwards more times than it ever went forwards. So I'm not expecting a miracle, but I do expect that Barry Ferguson will introduce more attacking and aggressive style of play from Rangers. So I'll be quite intrigued to see that.
Dermot, mate, you want to come back in, bud?
Aye, as I say, who I want to do is irrelevant. Barry and the team's in, know what I mean? And hopefully it plays it to what we want. But as I say, we need to separate a player, brilliant players, for managers. And he's only there at the end of the season. It's 100% he's only there at the end of the season because obviously the new owners will want their own people in, as they always do. But I like Saturday was the players. See how that passing it back? It's been going on for a couple of years, isn't it? It's always, in fact, we used to say Barry Maboy, didn't we? And it's turned into Tav Maboy because Tav's taking a bit of shy. People are having to wait for Tav to turn up to take a shy. And that clip with Neil McCann is just an endemic here that they've just passed it back and back and back into doing that horseshoe. And it's a nonsense. We've been watching it far too long. And again, the set pieces were awful on Saturday. We tried the short ones, then it was I think in the last two we tried a couple of in-swingers, and it wasn't getting mixed up throughout the game. It was just, we'll try this for a 2 or 3, then we'll try this for 2 or 3, then go right. Well, let's mix it up in between. But I say, Clement was too arrogant, wasn't he? He didn't see a need for a free kick, especially for anything. He thought he could manage that himself, and he clearly couldn't. As much as I know a lot of people say you don't get much for corners anyway, the stats prove that you don't get much. But as I say, the players awful Saturday. They don't play for a manager. They should be playing for us, and I'm quite angry at the players as well. No, I mean, Clement's off. That's him. He's done. Goodbye. You know what I mean? But the players are just, they've cheated us. No playing for a manager. As far as I'm concerned, I mean.
I agree, mate. And the only, I'm 50-50 with the whole Barry appointment as well. But what I would say is, I think I just mentioned it to Port earlier, was that at least one thing, he'll read out the weaklings. He'll spot guys that are just not up for the challenge. And hopefully he'll pass on that information to the likes of Patrick Stewart for the next regime that come in to say, look, by the way, this is needing some serious attention. If Barry's able to galvanise these boys and show that there is potential there, then again, it's another plus for us, because we can either sell them on and make some money. But it'll be interesting. Tomorrow night's a big night for everybody, and I'm eager to see it. Paul, you've got a wee question for Mark, I think, there. On you go, mate, come in.
I said, Mark, who were we going to get, Paul? You know the situation we're in. We're in a season that's 75% over. It's done and dusted with them up the road. You ken the situation. Who were we going to get at this present moment of time? We can't afford to appoint a new manager, somebody standing. We had to get somebody temporary in. And who better than Rangers guys that understand the club? I'm not saying they're going to work miracles. They may do, they may not. We'll just have to wait and see. But the period is 11 weeks. That's how long we'll be here. And then we'll just have to take it from scratch at the end of the season and try and build it up again to correspond with the takeover. That's the way I see it. I'm sure we all wish Barry a good luck, and we all want Rangers to win. Of course we did. But I didn't see the sense of appointing somebody at this time of the season. I think they've made the right move. We're getting a temporary squad in for to manage the club. I may be right, I may be wrong. I don't know. It's a frustrating time for us all. And you're still a nice guy, though, man. I like you a lot, mate.
But Bob, Gerrard, I said last night that I think we should ask Gio to come back. Gio to come back to have a second bite at that Europa League. And to me, bringing Barry and the team in, we've just, you don't ask, you don't get. And to me, we've just gave that slim chance up that we actually had. Hope I'm wrong. You know what I mean? And I think it was Ox last night. He says if we do well in Europa League, we'll be getting a statue of Barry outside Ibrox, and I'll be the first one at the opening ceremony. You know what I mean? I'll be out at 4 in the morning for the cover getting pulled off it. But it's always going to be just, I think, at the end of the season. So I wish him well, obviously. You know what I mean? And we just need to see how it plays out. It's as simple as that. Because there is going to be changes next season, isn't there? When the Yanks come in, hopefully.
You hope, I'll just take it to Angus. Angus, this is the worrying thing as well when you bring in an interim team. If they, if they go on this mad win and run, say it beats Mourinho or the 2 legs, and then there's a couple of old firm wins in amongst there, that's the thing you set yourself up for. Like, they'll be asking questions at the end of the season saying, well, we've done a job. I can't see it personally. The team have already kind of discussed that tonight as well, that we just see it as an interim thing. But I mean, stranger things have happened. If Barry Ferguson galvanises this squad and they do something amazing, then the new owners will need to look at it, because they maybe want a wee bit of stability for a while before they can actually start ploughing in some serious money.
Yeah, that's a good point, and it would be a very good sort of situation to find ourselves in, especially how poor we've been most of the season. But I think that it's serious businessmen and serious investors that are going to be coming in for the sort of takeover. So I'm not sure that they won't have their eyes on someone else coming in, because for the Americans, they really are winners and they want to winners. So they'll be wanting guys that are going to, bring us up the levels that we should be.
I agree, mate. I agree. Port, you've got a question, mate? Come on in.
All right, Mark, how you doing, mate? Good to hear you back on.
Aye, all good, mate. Good to hear you as well.
Aye, listen, just in terms of Barry Ferguson, mate, you heard me earlier on. Obviously, I'm excited for a fan's point of view. And what I mean by that is, I think it was a sensible appointment. I said this earlier on. It was a sensible appointment in terms of, we needed somebody quick. Philip Clement was gone. Who can we turn to? And that's as simple as a way I think it's been done, mate. I don't think they've got any intention of keeping him on beyond the 11 weeks that his remit's been set up. I just think he's been brought in to try and stabilise the club, see us through the end of the season, and get the best out of these players for the new incoming, manager, coach, whatever it may be, and obviously the new American regime, mate. I think that's his remit, mate. I think it's as simple as that. I don't know if you agree with that, mate, but I'm going to fully get. I know you will as well. You will get behind Barry. I know for a fact you will. I know you're maybe a bit deflated about it, and you wanted Gio, but I just think probably Gio's maybe at the price range, mate. He'd have probably wanted money, serious money, to come in as well. But no, that's my point, mate, and my view on Barry Ferguson, bud.
To me, Barry and Gio would have had two different remits. Gio's remit would have been get as far as you can in this Europa League, whereas Barry's is basically get out there, get them performing. There's no pressure on you to do anything because there's nothing else to do in the Scottish League. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And there's no expectation. I don't see any expectation in Barry Ferguson to do anything in Europe. His team, whereas if like I said, Gio would have come in, I think there'd have been and there'd probably been an expectation with the fans as well, wouldn't there? People would have went, right, we've got him in. He done that well the last time, whereas there's a different expectation with Barry. And the thing is, well, Barry could do really well, hopefully, but the pressure's off the players, isn't it? It's a different game when you've got nothing to play for, apart from I suppose your pride. But where was the pride on Saturday? Where was the pride against Queen's Park? It was nowhere, you know what I mean? So, to say the pressure's off, but that is what it is, you know what I mean? Just need to roll with it and hopefully get 3 points tomorrow night and see what happens.
I'll take this question from everybody.
You'll be first caller, the man. When you be first caller tomorrow night, you can have your nut when Barry gets 3 points.
Right, just to watch the time, but I'll go around this question quickly to everybody. Robert, in the presser, one of the guys asked the question, what will success look like this season under Barry Ferguson? What do you see, mate? Robert, you first.
Well, obviously Europe's a big ask. I think we'll be realistic about it. I think there's a big challenge ahead of us. The league, we know where we're at, but I think for me, mate, it's just, you said the word earlier on, galvanise, try and regroup these group of players, bring the fans back on board, make the place a better, happier atmosphere. It seems from day one in training we're getting that. So success, I think it's just about getting the harmony back, getting the players and the fans back together, and we'll start under a new regime, a new management side, I feel, come next season. But I think it's just to try and steady the ship over the line and make it a better place to start next season. So I don't think there's a kind of success period here, mate, if I'm being honest. It's just that squad harmony, fan togetherness, and again, just a bit of pride in the performances and results we'll get.
Bob, just quickly, mate, success for you, what's it going to look like under Barry?
I'll just narrow that down. The word is stability. We've got to get stabilised because we've been unstable for too long. And then you forget you've 2 Old Firm games coming up, and imagine the feeling you would get in the boost with shoving it up them twice. So when it can be done, we've done it before and we can do it again. Europe, nah, I would say ta-ta that. But do your best, you never know. So I'll say good night, boys, and thanks for having me again, and good luck tomorrow night, Rangers. And good luck, Barry Ferguson. Take care, boys.
Cheers, Bob. Cheers. Thanks again, bud. Angus, same question to you, bud.
Yeah, for me, Rangers start winning games again and a bit of pride. I think the players in the last couple of games have forgotten. It doesn't matter about managers. What matters most is that badge in the front of you and playing for the supporters. So hopefully Barry Ferguson and the management team will be able to install that back into them.
Brilliant, mate. Good answer. DeMark, yourself, mate. Success, how's it going to look?
I've not got an answer for that, honestly. I've not got an answer.
Sorry, mate.
Yeah, but that's I have no answer. But I've, just one last thing in the takeover. If anybody knows anybody at Ibrox, I'm putting myself forward voluntarily for the cheerleading coach. So if anybody knows people, just put my name forward.
Brilliant.
I can
Right, boys.
The pom-poms, mate.
Right, boys, it's that time in it. that time of the night. Angus, last words for yourself, mate.
Yeah, enjoyed coming in and listening to everyone's thoughts, and let's all hope tomorrow night that we're all feeling a bit happier about things, and it can be the start of a good run of games.
Cheers, mate. Thank you. Port Bears, mate. Last thoughts, mate.
Aye, thanks for having us on, mate. Look, I really enjoyed it, mate. Still got that wee buzz in my belly in regards to the coaching team to the end of the season. Thanks for all the callers, mate. That was superb, mate. All the callers coming in as well. So, cheers, mate. Thank you.
Much appreciated, and thanks for coming on. And I'll give you the famous words: "Don't be a stranger." We'll see you soon. Robert, mate, your last words as well.
Cheers for having me on, mate. Good to be on with yourself and Bridgeman. Good chat tonight. I think there's a wee feel good factor, as Pope Bert says there. Looking forward to the game tomorrow night. Hopefully we see a wee bit of the Rangers we all know and all want to see. So good luck to Barry and the boys for tomorrow night and the rest of the season. And let's get some feel good factor about the club again.
Yeah, I think that tops it off, Robert. About the night show, it's about the feel good factor. Best of luck to our new management team for tomorrow night. Can I just say a big thank you for the callers that came in there in the last half hour? Brilliant to hear from you all. We had Bob Jer, Angus, Dermarnock, and we had David as well there, and we had obviously Port Bear for the start. So fantastic calls tonight, and let's say thanks for contributing to the show. Big thanks to yourself, Bridgeman, for coming on and helping us as well. A big thank to yourself, Robert, again for being the wingman there and keeping everything taken care for us. Big thanks to the boys in the background, the techie team, Old School Blue and Fox. This has been Rangers Radio. We'll be back tomorrow night talking about all things Glasgow Rangers. Good night.